heading towards Halifax.
We're not going to have time to go into Halifax, unfortunately. Time's against us. So we're going to head across to Antigonish and enjoy what we can see on the way.
Another misty day on Nova Scotia Island. We're heading to Musqueam. We think that's how they pronounce it, harbour.
We're travelling along Highway 207 between Dartmouth and Jeddore via Musqueam Bay. With skillful driving on Norm's part, we have found ourselves a pull-off beside Austria, O-S-T-R-E-A, Austria Lake. Called Pleasant Point. Still on Pleasant Point. We've just taken a little side route to try and get to a little lighthouse that we saw. I'm not quite sure if we're going to visit the people in this white house on the hill. They might be the lighthouse keepers.
Probably was the lighthouse keeper originally.
Yeah.
I'll back up here and then you can get out.
Is that for a mushroom? And that's another one. I can't stay long, I'm getting eaten by mozzies. You'll probably see a swarm of mozzies. Oh, we talk about the fly wave. Oh, they're biting me. There you are. We talked to the lighthouse keeper who gave us permission to come and have a look at this. He gets $100 a year to keep it going.
His great-grandfather was the first lighthouse keeper.
Yeah.
And there's the lighthouse keeper's cottage over there.
Yeah, I took it the old green place. Oh.
We're back in the car, chased back here by a swarm of mozzies, and there is still one in here. It's now dead. Oh, I haven't run that fast in ages. But we saw the lighthouse. I think the lighthouse keeper's still laughing. Coming into Jeddore now. We've just done a shop at Sobeys. Sobeys seems to be like IGA. And Jeddore is famous for its Fisherman's Life Museum, which is where we think we'll have a look. This is the little lawnmower at the Fisherman's Life Museum. Hello, gorgeous. And there's a bigger one. Takes two to eat this down. You like your head scratched? Hey?
Oi, come over here.
This is the Fisherman's Life Museum.
That the museum depicts is from 1900 through to the late 20s to early 30s. When the second family lived here, the home was built by the grandfather, James Myers, in 1857. At that point, it consisted of 3 rooms downstairs, this room which today we call the winter kitchen, the master bedroom, and the parlour. Upstairs was a loft tucked under the eaves, and 7 children shared that space, 4 sons, 3 daughters. He was an inshore fisherman, so you'll notice islands off the coastline. Very conveniently at the mouth of Jeddore Harbour there is a series of islands, and years ago the fishermen would stay out there during the week in fishing shacks. And then they would come home on the weekends, fishing from the time the ice left the harbour in the spring until probably late September to early October. Now, boys would fish with their fathers. They never ever took a woman in a boat. They believed it would bring them bad luck. Because in 1900, James was getting to be an older man, and he decided to pass the home on to Irvin, his youngest son. When Irvin inherited the home, he also inherited Mum and Dad. That's why the youngest Irvin was a bachelor in 1900. So he made a few structural changes to the house before he changed his marital status. He added the summer kitchen. In this part of the house, he raised the roof and he put 3 bedrooms upstairs. But he kept the ceilings low to conserve heat. Then he married in 1901. He was Ethelda Stoddard, and she had a Scottish background. Myers is a German name.
Yes.
So he brought Ethelda home as his bride in 1901 to live with Mum and Dad. Then from 1902 to 1925, they had a family of 13 daughters here.
Oh,
no sons.
How lucky was that?
One little girl did die as an infant, so 12 grew up to be adults here. Because they couldn't fish with Dad didn't mean they were idle, because they had to farm as well. This would be very similar to growing up on a croft on the coast of Scotland or Ireland. We have very rough, rocky soil here, but every family had a large garden of root vegetables. They had a barn full of animals. They had an apple orchard here. And they even grew hops, which they processed for the yeast for their bread. So they're pretty self-sufficient. The girls went to a one-room schoolhouse located about a mile from here, where one teacher taught all grade levels from primary through to high school. Now, he caught mostly codfish, mackerel, and herring. Lobster in those days was called a poor man's food.
Oh.
No longer the case today.
No.
You discover when you visit our lobster pounds and our restaurants, it's a delicacy that many people enjoy. These girls, all of them finished high school, and 4 of them went on to become nurses. And that was the reason for the last addition to the home in the 1930s. And it's the room you're going to find on the other side of the parlor. Ida was nursing for a local doctor when she contracted tuberculosis, which they also called consumption. Now, the TB hospital in Nova Scotia was located in Kentville in the Annapolis Valley. Had they sent her there, they wouldn't have seen her while she was ill. This family never had a car, and a trip to Halifax was a big event back then. And you were still only halfway to Kentville. So they brought her home. They proceeded to build a room on for her and then isolate her in that room for a period of 18 months.
Oh, wow.
Today you're going to walk directly in that room from the parlor, but when Ida was confined to that room, that was a solid wall. There was an exterior entrance where her nursing diploma is hanging on the wall today. The windows were open winter and summer. Now our winters have changed. We don't get the snow that they used to get. She told us she woke up many winter mornings to find that snow had blown in on her covers overnight. She lived to be in her late 80s. But when she used to come to visit, she would only stand in the doorway of the room and look in. She said it wasn't a room that had a lot of happy memories for her. But in the fall, when everything was harvested from the garden, they would let the fire go out in the stove out there, give the stove a good cleaning, take it apart, and move it in and hook it up to this chimney, and close that room off and use it like a porch or a mud room, and for cold storage during
it's
the
summer
winter
room,
months.
yeah.
The parlor was neat and tidy and seldom used, and the fire was only lit when somebody like the minister came to visit. So consequently, this was their primary source of heat, but they did not let that fire burn all night in the winter. So the fire would burn into the evening, then it would go out. One spark might catch a little wooden home on fire while you were asleep, and it could be a disaster. So when you woke up upstairs on a winter's morning, it would be to find frost in the nail heads, frozen window panes, and possibly frozen chamber pots under the bed. So you were glad to have a sister or two to cuddle up to. So the largest room has 3 double beds. They were pretty smart. There's no hallways upstairs. One room flows into the other. Directly off her room is the nursery. Mom had a new baby down here in the cradle roughly every year and a half. So once they were weaned, they went upstairs and probably became the care of the oldest daughter, who's one of the 2 girls that never married. None of them married fishermen. Nobody had a family as big as Mom, but one daughter married and had 6 sons, no daughters. One daughter is still living. She's 95 and she's in a nursing home in the Kitchener-Waterloo area of Ontario. By today's standards, these people would not be considered wealthy at all. It was subsistence living, but they never ever felt they were poor. In fact, one daughter said, "We never knew the Depression took place. Our lifestyle didn't change." And another one said, "We may have been considered poor, but," she said, "we always felt we had everything we needed." Today it's what we want, and there's a huge difference
absolutely.
between the two.
Absolutely. Pair of bloomers?
That's all you need, huh?
Yes.
Under the stairs. Curling tongs.
This is the Fisherman's Life Museum. This is a mushroom under an apple tree. Not the biggest of apples.
Clam Harbour.
Clam Harbour. More mosquito villages, I reckon. We found ourselves a beach. They don't have many sandy beaches around these parts. They're mostly rock. There's one less mozzie that's going to bite me. I've planted his body against the window. God help any other mozzie that comes near me, it's going to end up the same way. This is a view from our dining room while we're having lunch. We're parked near Ship Harbour. Stopped for lunch. Lovely spot for that house, isn't it? Some of the fellas. This is Spry Bay. This is Sherbrooke. It's an old-fashioned frozen in time village. That's what Sherbrooke Village is all about. Rejoicing in sunshine. This is what Nova Scotia looks like in the sun. Just left Sherbrooke, heading up to Stillwater and Antigonish. And we're in Antigonish. Right there, see? Yep. Where the crosses are.
You have reached your
Watch the
destination
car.
on your left.
He's saying go. Thank you. And there's the office.
Sydney's there, but it's not the office.
The river up there. So not the yellow road, the yellow brick road.
How are you?
Not fine.
Yep.
I'll be better in a minute when Penny brings me another drink.
Cheers.
You don't need
Cheers
another
to
one.
cheers, biggies.
How many beans did you go around today, Rob?
You're Michael, aren't
She
you?
said it was the best.
Mike from New Zealand.
Mike from New Zealand, who eats fish and chips.
Peter, not Peter.
There you are. And we led him up the garden path and around the corner and got him lost yesterday, or a few days ago.
Oh, your Wi-Fi.
No, you're nowhere near it.
Now
You're right.
because Cherie's back and
We've got that on tape now.
she's already
She's
on
picked it up.
Here comes Cherie. She's on a.
I'm drinking Fat Bastard Chardonnay by Terry and Guy. Roughing it tonight. Grilled chicken breast, potato salad, and green and salad with tomato thrown in, tomato green and red salad.
A bit of mayonnaise, have you?
And mayonnaise, and the cook's a little bit ready for eating. He's given, and the cook, aka the driver, who's not looking at the camera, but he's done a wonderful job today. We've had a lovely
Chief,
drive.
bloody driver, cook, bottle washer, and bloody sewerage manager as well.
Yeah, I'll wash up. I make lunch and brekkie.
I
And look-
love doing the sewerage in the morning. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, I love producing it for him to have something to do. I love you too.